Danny, did you watch it last night? I caught the tail end of Roma against Sassuolo, and I knew going into this that this was Mourinho's 1,000th game. 1,000th game as a manager in football. I didn't,
but I saw his celebration where he did his classic, in the last minute, running 400 metres to get with all the players and the fans jumping in.
Yeah, a bit Porto-esque at Old Trafford all these years ago. And he joins the likes of Sir Alex and Arsene Wenger, taking charge of 1,000 games in management. Only 33 managers have achieved that feat in history. And
Simon texted him after the game, apparently, to say well done.
Oh, did you, Simon? No.
I've taken notice of him.
Take no notice of him. But certainly it is quite an achievement. I mean, Danny, to be fair to the guy, his career win rate is 63.76%. And of course, it brought him 25 titles across 4 leagues. How do you think it compares? I mean, 1,000 games, he deserves to be in there, does he?
Well, you can only have admiration for somebody who's so successful at the job, the profession they choose to do. Irrelevant of how much you like him or don't like him, the fact is he's a winner. He's proven it time and time again in various countries at different clubs with different amounts of different amount of tools to use, different amount of money, different circumstances.
Thank you, Simon.
He's been a phenomenal manager and still is a good manager. You know, obviously there's everyone comes to the end in terms of the success they have, and so will he. But at the moment, he's doing good things at Roma. I did notice actually the other day. I did a bit of research on Tammy's first few games and watched some highlights of it. He started really well. He looks full of beans.
He looked great. I saw him, but we've seen many sides of Jose Mourinho, and of course, this isn't me jumping on the hitting Jose over the head with a bat.
Well, you love him, don't you, Jim?
Well, when you look at it. You know, and this is fair to say. All right, legendary status, and of course he has legendary status. He joins the 1,000 club.
Yeah,
but certainly dressing rooms have varied in his time to peaceful ones, harmonious ones, to toxic ones. We've had famous quotes to nasty jibes, serial winner to fairly disastrous times. I mean, Simon, how do you think people should look at this today in terms of achievement, but is it somewhat a tainted achievement?
How can you look at a manager that's managed in Portugal, England, Italy, with such levels of, and Spain, of course, with such levels of success, and pick out the areas where he has shortcomings as the central theme as to what we look at him? He's a unique manager, arguably the greatest manager that we've seen. His achievements at times...
The greatest manager that we've seen where?
In football. He's won the league in Italy, he's won the league in Portugal, he's won the league in Spain, he's won the league in England.
He's won the European Cup in Italy and Portugal.
You're looking at somebody, irrespective of the dressing rooms, some of the moves that he's made, going back to Chelsea, I was surprised at, in the manner that he left in 2007.
Still won the league.
Going to Tottenham, I thought was a very strange move. I thought it was a marriage made in hell, and I didn't understand what that built for him on his resume, because he was always going to get a big job, and I'm not sure that Tottenham was the right job for him with the personalities involved and the modus operandis of the club. He's a unique manager. He has a unique personality, and some of it has an edge to it, you know, running up to people and poking his finger in their eyes when he was a Real Madrid manager when they're playing Barcelona. These are part and parcel of what makes this man the man that he is. The fact that there's two sides to him. There's the media side that he faces out with, and then there's the Mourinho behind the scenes. He is a unique commodity. He's a unique commodity.
Oh, he's unique, I'll give you that.
And his record stands to be
against anybody.
Against anybody. And in fact, probably beyond most, with the exception of probably Pep.
Does his record stand beyond Ferguson's record?
Well, Ferguson managed one club in one country before he went from Scotland.
But that's incredible in itself.
Sure it is. But Ferguson got 5 years to build a team that would never have been given in any other time. It called a wave on the fact that the Premier League then became what it became. And
you're always going about Manchester United being the biggest club in the world. Mourinho couldn't hack it there.
Well, that's not true, is it? Because, you know, he won something.
Well, how did it end?
Well, hacking it and how it ends are two different things, aren't they? Hacking it and winning...
How did it end? It ended with him presiding over a toxic dressing room.
All things end badly, otherwise they wouldn't end.
Well, that's a very good point. But the point is that he went into Manchester United, he won 2 trophies for them. You've got another guy that's gone in there.
Are you telling me Mourinho is a better manager than Ferguson was?
Well, if you look at the fact that he's won the league with Real Madrid, he's won the league with Inter Milan and an unfashionable Inter Milan, right, without the same level of resource. He's gone into Chelsea and turned them from what Ranieri was doing into something even more significant and dominating English football for a period of time during the time that Ferguson was at Manchester United. He's won more trophies than Ferguson did. Ferguson talks about him in glowing terms. Do I think he's a better manager across 4 clubs, 4 leagues than Ferguson? Yeah. Do I think he's a better manager in English football than Ferguson? No. But you're asking for 2 comparisons, or 1 comparison, and saying that's the only comparison you can have. But he's gone to Inter Milan, he's gone to Real Madrid, he's gone to Chelsea, and he's been a success in all 3 of that. And prior to that, a success with Porto. How do you argue he's not?
I think at times
ultimately
it's
the
what
most
you
elite
leave
manager.
behind, though. That's my point. It's what you actually leave
Oh,
behind.
right, so what's
you.
Ferguson? Okay then. What's Ferguson left behind
And
him?
Ferguson consistently and continually reinvented Manchester
But
United.
he didn't leave. So what did he leave behind him? When he left, what did he leave behind? They haven't won the Premier League.
Well, he left
for
behind
nearly-
the most successful club in England.
Yeah, but what are they now? And when Mourinho
I think Liverpool
left,
are
What do you
that.
mean, what are they
Liverpool-
now?
I think
He doesn't
Liverpool are
manage
that,
them now.
Jim.
yeah, but you're talking about what you leave behind. So what you leave behind you is the legacy for the next guy that comes in, right? So what comes after you
Your
is
legacy-
what you do next.
your
Well, what did Jose leave behind when he left Manchester? What did Jose leave behind when he left Tottenham?
Yeah,
Well-
but you're pointing out. Look,
He left. Well, go on, you go, Danny.
No,
I've had a go.
you're comparing
And contrasting.
different. They're completely different eras and well, not completely.
I'm just amazed that Simon
But they
thinks
did-
that Mourinho could possibly be said to be the greatest of all time.
Well, if you were talking about the best managers that we've ever seen, they would be in the same conversation.
Yeah.
I think that's very fair to say, for different reasons, is the simplified answer. If you're talking about legacy, Mourinho will be remembered forever at Porto. He'll be remembered forever at what he did at Inter Milan. Probably be remembered for many, many decades at Real Madrid for what he achieved there, because he basically broke up that Barcelona monopoly on the winning the league titles when Pep had all those wonderful players. And at Chelsea, he'd be remembered forever. So he'd be remembered forever at 3 or 4 clubs.
So then you take Man United out, which is a club that's been in disarray for 8 years, that can't get
Where
the
he
right
still
manager
won
in
2
there.
trophies, but he won't be remembered in the same fondness
No,
as
of course
Fergie,
not.
because
No.
what Fergie did was nothing short of
yeah.
phenomenal.
How does
you
it
know.
compare to Wenger?
Again, you would have to separate what they did, because Wenger never really went and tested himself in all the countries, you know, motivating players of a different culture and different language. It's what you define as success in management. What Fergie did in regenerating a new squad, or building team after team after team, is a phenomenal achievement.
Well, they stayed loyal.
You know,
Ferguson stayed
Bob
loyal.
Paisley did at
Wenger
Liverpool.
stayed loyal.
Bob Paisley won more trophies than Fergie in a shorter time. So
Yeah.
So how far back do you go? How do you compare? Very difficult, isn't it? So I would say that what Mourinho's achieved
It's unique, though.
is probably
It's unique.
uncomparable.
Yeah.
Incomparable.
Incomparable. I mean, you look at it and say, he's managed Porto, he's gone to Chelsea when
Pep's
Chelsea
the
was
only one-
was a project, and he put Chelsea from being a project for a very wealthy man into a very successful football club. And do you know what? I think he's very flawed. I think he's a very difficult individual. I think there's lots about him that isn't to my liking, and some of that style of football. But to argue that someone that's won the league in 4 different countries with 4 different clubs, all with different expectations and ideals, and then to compare and contrast, from my favourite expression, a Tottenham side that can't win anything when it had its best opportunity and arguably the best squad that it's had under Pochettino, and say that's what you should define him by. Define him by Tottenham. Who could you put into Tottenham?
Well, the chance of winning something with Tottenham, they get sacked in the week leading up to it.
You have to ask the reasons for that, rather than necessarily say, well, okay, do you think really that Tottenham would have beaten Manchester City in that League Cup final? Well, they're saying that they've beaten them in the League Cup times, haven't they?
Under Mourinho, we'll never know. But interestingly, in the 1000 club, Sam Allardyce, Rafa Benitez, Roy Hodgson, Laurie McMenemy, Tony Pulis, Neil Warnock, Simon, you're right, Danny Wilson, Jim Smith, Joe Royle. The list is interesting, as it is long. But now Mourinho is
How many
on
of
that
them
very
got
list.
25 titles?
I have to stand corrected on Fergie did win more than Paisley, but Paisley won his 20 in a third of the time that Fergie won his 38. Just before I get an avalanche.
Ancelotti's in the 1000 club, and he's done it in more than one place.
Why don't you think Mourinho is at the very top end?
Well, he is.
I'm asking Jim because he pushes back on it regularly with Mourinho. Is
because
it because
we've seen on too many occasions we've seen the good side of Jose and the bad side of Jose. That's really why.
And what's the bad side? Out of curiosity.
How come he goes in somewhere and that dressing room environment appears to turn toxic?
Well, didn't his relationship with Pogba, a circle that most people can't square, wasn't that the real issue at Man United? And wasn't their refusal to give him a player that they subsequently signed a year later?
Solskjaer seems to have squared the circle with Pogba.
Yeah, because he gives him what he wants. But how do
you know that?
How much more successful?
How do you know that?
Because you can see his disposition towards Pogba is very different than Mourinho's.
Now you're talking.
Mourinho was intolerant of Pogba because he thinks that Pogba has got a job to do, prima facie, more important than pandering to Pogba.
But is that a good management technique to be intolerant
in the longer game?
If
you win something, yes. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's been there for 3 years, hasn't won anything. So, which is right? Do you burn it fast and win things, and subsequently live young and die, have a good-looking corpse? You know the James Dean expression, or do you build something that eventually doesn't deliver anything? If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't win anything this year, what are you going to say about his wonderful tenure of managing Paul Pogba and making Paul Pogba not quite the problem that seemingly Mourinho had with him? But if they don't win anything, what does that mean?
Well, I've got a few months to think about that.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, 12:15.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.